We have made it. We're here. We're back. Another week. This is 2 weeks in a row. Granted, different days, but but 2 weeks in a row.
Pretty good.
We're getting better at this whole thing. It's only been 64 episodes.
We kind of mix it up on the days of the week.
On top of it.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to episode 64 of Prep Talk Live. I'm Casey with Cascadia Dispatch. Joining me as always is Tup, the Urban Prepper. But before I let you speak, Tup, the Urban Prepper, Pony Girl has made it here. Pony Girl is back.
I was taking a look and making sure that if we're going to start or not. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Chuck and Pigs Fly, there's a lot of regulars that are here. Pony Girl has been missing.
We didn't know what to do last time when Pony Girl wasn't here. It kind of messed up the mojo, I think.
We were just a hot mess.
It was a hot mess.
Yeah. We were a hot mess last week. And also, I have to say, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. We're only going to go about 30 minutes. It's a Friday. We got stuff going on. It's family stuff. And part of our theme for today will impact why it is that I specifically am going to be ditching out in 30 minutes. So welcome, Tup. What have you been up to? How are things?
Well, it's been pretty busy. A lot of a lot of different things going on. Not a lot of sleep. Working and playing. And I'm trying to think if I had any kind of cool preps or anything that came in handy. I'm trying out this new EDC thing. I could show it to you really quick. On my belt, I saw it on an Instagram reel, and they kept showing this little belt clip that goes on there. It's a magnet. I don't know if I have anything magnetic here, but it's for does that work? No, that doesn't work. Anyway, it's this magnetic belt clip, and I've been testing it out all week to see if I like it, if I want it to be part of my EDC, or if it's just a little too gimmicky. But it's meant for tool belt type stuff, so like hammers and screwdrivers or whatever. But I've been using it for nerdy things, so I'm just trying that out.
I feel like this is like a Batman utility belt, is what you're trying to create here.
I've always been inspired by Batman. I think he's one of the best preppers of all time, I think. And his belt is one of the best EDCs, I think, EDC systems in the game. So, I have been walking by like metal fences and stuff and just it gets stuck on it. What happened there? Or then sometimes I have paper clips that are sticking on my belt, but
I just imagine you walking by like a bus or something and getting attached and then just taking off, and you're just kind of hanging on the window.
But fortunately it's not that strong, but like your seat belt or whatever, it clips on there. My wife's like, how did that happen? And I haven't told her that I have this magnetic belt attachment for EDC purposes. But
so is it pouches that have magnets on them that connect to it, or how does it work? What does it do?
It's meant for if let's say that you're working with tools and you have your hammer and you want to set it down, but you don't want to lose it. You just set it, put it on where your belt is, and then it's hanging magnetically off of your belt then. And it's like a quick grab and go type thing. So, but I've been using it for Altoids kit type things and my multi-tool. I was using the multi-tool, and then I didn't want to put it back in the pouch, but I still wanted to have it handy, and then boom, put it right on there. So that's what I've been using it for, and trying to see if it actually makes sense, or if it's just too weird. So far I haven't got stuck on too many pieces of metal. So
okay, well, I'm very intrigued to hear how this goes. Also, curious if you're going to have a grappling hook of some sort that you're going to.
I've always been inspired by that too, and I just haven't found the right one, I think, for me. So what works? Get this thing off my belt again.
I would be a little worried that things would fall off. I've always been worried about magnetic cases for phones and stuff, where it attaches, but then my phone still falls off in the car. So the wallets that magnetize to the back of your phone case, I'm always I feel like that is going to fall off, and then my wallet is going to fall off. But
yeah, I mean, it's pretty strong. It's
wow,
it's locked in there, that your multi.
All right.
So
that's solid. That's not going to come off unless
it's not going to come off. Unless you. But yeah, that's what I've been trying out. It's kind of cool for a multi-tool sheath that doesn't require a sheath, and for those purposes, I think it's kind of nice.
I'm loving the idea that you're going to have this clip that then you're going to attach a multi-tool, and then you're going to need a pry bar to get the multi-tool off, and then that's going to stick, and then you're going to need a car or something to try to pry the pry bar off, and then that'll stick, and it'll just be this whole ball of metal and such.
Yeah, you can put I really want my knife out, but I don't want to put it away. I guess you could do something like that. But that might hurt you a little bit.
Wow, that is a dangerous. Children, don't pay attention to this. This is professionals only. Here,
it's kind of pro. It's kind of pro channel. So.
Spinning knife. Where's Wrangler Star when we need him?
Yeah,
I'm sure he would have an opinion on that one. Yeah, let's.
Anyway, that's been my week testing out magnetic belt clips.
Very nice. So my week was a little bit different.
What happened?
As you can tell from the, I tried not to be a little too clickbaity, but I also was like, hey, this is a whole thing. So we were actually supposed to be visiting family in Montana this week, and weekend. And last night or 2 nights ago, before we were getting ready to set our alarms for 4 in the morning and then head out, the wildfires started getting really, really close to the area where our in-laws live. And so there was a lot of conversation. Okay, can we go around? Can we do whatever? It would have been another 2 to 3 hours to actually go around the spot where the fire was. And then there's no promise that by like Monday or Tuesday, it would be clear for us to get back. So it would be like a 13-hour drive. And then when we got there, the air quality was going to be less than ideal. And a lot of the reason we go there is to go do outdoor stuff with the kids that we don't do in here, which is silly because we live in Oregon and there's all kinds of outdoorsy stuff to do here.
Yeah.
But like, they're really outdoorsy people. And so they do it way better than we do. So it's like, okay, fine. We will go do that. So we were going to do that. That got canceled. So the plan was then, okay, we have kind of a vacation weekend scheduled. Let's kind of make the vacation weekend happen. So we're streaming tonight. We're going to make it a little bit short because we got family dinner, and then we've got some activities planned for tomorrow and for Sunday. And we did a whole kind of bowling adventure yesterday. So we're just going to kind of keep that going. But the wildfires in Montana kind of were the bookend of a bunch of wildfires that are happening in Oregon and kind of in and around. They're not in Portland proper yet, but they're kind of on the outskirts. And so over the last several summers, we have had varying degrees of closeness of wildfires, whereas probably 10 years ago, wildfires didn't come anywhere near kind of the city area. And it seems like every year now, not only are they getting closer, but we're getting a lot more smoke and air quality and all that sort of stuff. So I was thinking, with wildfires becoming more of a thing, specifically on the West Coast, but I mean, there are wildfires everywhere. It might be a good time to just kind of talk about like wildfire preps, especially the things you should do before the wildfire happens, because a lot of times, even if you don't live by a forest or something, you can be impacted by some sort of a wildfire or something like that. As evidenced by what happened in New York last summer, where it was like super smoky and everything else. Portland's had it. I don't know if it's been super bad in Seattle yet.
Yeah, we had some. Was that last year or the year before? One of the summers before. It might have been last summer, but yeah, we were impacted by some, and it definitely messes with the air quality for sure. So I'm trying. I don't have a whole bunch of like wild. We haven't. It'd be hard to have a wildfire where we're at, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But just due to the region that it's in. But I know that like a few years ago, there was a lot of wildfires that were happening in California, and a lot of people were looking to the prepping community at that time for respirator masks and things because they're having a hard time breathing. And so they're looking at some of the mirror safety ones. And this is before COVID and everything. I know I have some friends down in Oregon that are in kind of wildfire territory where it's gotten close a few times. I know that the government does some certain controlled burnings to try to avoid them from getting out of control. And they have like they kind of, I don't know, that's not bulldoze, but they have some machinery basically to clear off a path that they try to make a buffer between like the actual forest and where their house is. And then they have, I think they have roof sprinklers too, is one of the things that they did to help protect for that. But
yeah. And I'm looking in the chat and there's Chuck's talking about that Chicago, there was a bunch of air quality issues from the Canadian wildfires. I know that was a big deal. So yeah, and I think Pony Girl says it's happening in Arizona. fires have been
I've seen
burning.
them where they go, like, they could travel really fast. I was really surprised by how quickly like those could get out of hand, and the next thing you know, you got to do a quick evacuation. So it's pretty scary.
Yeah, and I think it's also, it's kind of I liken it. I feel like we should liken it to like the earthquake scenario,
Hmm.
where it's kind of like, okay, the reason to prepare for an earthquake is not necessarily because we're special or anything like that, but like if one thing happens in our area, there's enough fire and police and everybody to kind of deal with it. And maybe if there's a couple of things, you can deal with that. But if like there's a huge earthquake and everybody is impacted by it, like there aren't going to be enough people to come and help and save and do all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And I feel like the same thing with the wildfires, where when they start to get close to the cities and everything else, like if they start encroaching and start catching houses on fire, it doesn't take long for that to be just too much, and there's nothing that local fire departments are going to really be able to do to
Yeah.
kind of bring that back. And so we've been in, I think we got into like the first level of warning one year, because it was coming in from one of the nice things about Portland is it's kind of surrounded by countryside and farmland and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it started coming in on that sort of thing. And so they started letting everybody know, like, hey, if this doesn't stop here pretty soon, like you're going to have fire in the city. And like, we need to, I mean, more than everybody already thinks the city's on fire. But
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So for us, it wasn't so much about getting, special preps. It was more kind of adding on to the ones we already had, but making sure that we had the stuff that we needed ready, because we could kind of predict. You can't really predict earthquake season, but you can
Yeah.
predict wildfire season.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of folks, like, it's when they're actually maybe they're not impacted by the fire itself, but the smoke is impacting them when they're outdoors. And that's usually when all those respirator masks, they get sold out pretty quickly, even on Amazon and stuff. They get online. We have the 3M ones, the P100 filters on those ones, the pink ones,
Yeah.
for those kind of purposes. In addition to our full gas mask, I guess. But the Mira Safety, their smoke ones it's kind of expensive, those filters, and
Yeah.
I'd like to have a little bit more of those, and they're harder to get too. You seem to be out of stock a lot, but right now I have some for my building evacuation kit, for like if there's a fire in my work building, and I have those respirators for that particular mask, but not at the home for that. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other kind of preps that you'd want to have for that.
Yeah, the kid safety masks are kind of tricky because Mira has like kid size masks.
Yeah.
But I keep missing out on like actually measuring them to figure out like, okay, do they need a kid size or do they need an adult size that's shrunk down or not? And they have because I have one of them, and then I've got a couple of filters, but we also have the 3M respirators. Thank you, pandemic, for making us
Yeah.
go out and be like, oh, we just need masks. What do we get? And the 3M respirators were available, so I've got some of those. And then the at least the N95 masks that now we should all have everywhere, just because we all got them and we couldn't possibly use them all by now. Those are at least something that you can have. But just having things like your evacuation bags, making sure you have important documents like a grab and go file in a safe or something like that, where you have like birth certificates and social security cards and passports and like all of that stuff, where you can just grab one envelope and go. I think that would be a good thing to make sure you've got in order.
Yeah, it's definitely a bug out scenario that you don't want to bug in those type of ones, for sure. So those kids masks are a little tricky because I've done a lot of testing of the Mira ones and other ones, and the Mira ones are really nice to have elastic bands and stuff, but those kid ones have like rubberized ones, and it pulls on their hair, and so it's my kids, they hate putting those on because it yanks at their hair a little bit. And then they also made that one, it kind of looks like a bubble base, an inflatable bubble, and my daughter will not put that on no matter what. Like, she'll start crying if I bring it out. So I told Mira,
the aquarium mask.
I was going to do a video on it. I'm like, I don't think I could do this video. My daughter hates this thing.
I can do the video. I don't think you guys want me to do the video because it's not going to look great. It's going to look a bit awkward. No, I think that is it's It's one of those like, I'm sorry that your hair is being pulled. Unfortunately, it's that or not be able to breathe. So
Yeah,
like,
it's really
trade-off.
crazy how those wildfires could like jump across roads. Like like if the wind's blowing just right, it's a road's not going to stop it, or a big thing of concrete with no trees or underbrush underneath it. It'll jump across it and move to the next section. It's from what I've seen, it's pretty crazy. So it's hard to it'd be hard to really prep your house to prevent it. You could again you
Yeah.
could do the roof sprinklers, and you could try to create some kind of barrier between the actual forest and your home and or grass or whatever. But those fires they're pretty wild. So
Yeah. I think there's also, there was actually like a homestead rescue. Did you ever watch Homestead Rescue?
no,
Okay.
sounds cool.
It's very cool.
Sounds like a prepper type show.
It is. Yeah. It's a guy and his family, and they go to like homesteads where the people are having trouble and they think they're going to fail, and they try to like help them get their
Oh, okay.
homestead fixed. And so it could be like doing water projects or garden projects. Like they always do all kinds of things. And one of them was they were in like Alaska, and they were worried about wildfires because there was brush everywhere. And they did a whole thing of trying to create like a fireproof perimeter around the house and some of that sort of stuff. So I think those are good things, just like making sure like your trees are trimmed and you don't have just dead grass all over anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's coming, like that is one of those we often talk about with earthquakes, like do you bug in or bug out? And a lot of people would actually prefer to bug in because that's where most of their supplies would be. If it's a wildfire, like you are getting out of there. Like there is no
Get out. Yeah, for sure.
using your garden hose to try to fight the wildfire. Like get out.
Yeah. The chat room's going on with this
Propane.
Girl was propane business blow up because of the 118 degree heat. They're like missiles and burned a bunch of autos near the airport. Dangerous water. Yeah, I've seen those big propane tanks explode too. Where we were off of the freeway. There was this. I was ways away from it, but it exploded in this huge fireball. It was crazy. But those were hard to prep for that as well.
Yeah, you can't really prepare for the propane explosion. We had some soda cans in our car that apparently got hot enough yesterday that they decided to explode.
Oh, wow.
Luckily no other cars were damaged. Just the interior mat of the car got soaked in root beer, so our car smells like root beer now. But if it can happen to a can of soda, I would imagine it can happen to a propane tank.
Yeah. And I think I think you and I, our region it doesn't get too hot. It doesn't get too cold. It's the Goldilocks porridge. And it's, so we don't have to worry about some of the typical, like in Arizona type heat and what you could store in your car, for example. And we don't have to deal with Canadian prepper snow or anything like that. So it's not that cold over here. So
does Canadian Prepper even care about snow nowadays? Is it just all nuclear fallout for him?
It's a nuclear winter.
Yeah, exactly. That's the snow that he's worried about. Yeah. It's glowing green. I don't understand.
But like extreme cold weather is like I keep stuff in the car. I keep water in the car they're in glass bottles. And if I was in like Idaho or Canada or something like that, I'm sure they would freeze during the winter time and break and all that stuff. But I haven't had to worry about that so far.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot of times we talk about kind of like seasonal change outs for like bug out bags and things like that, where it's like, okay, you're going from like winter clothing into summer clothing, or
this
you're
is my spring bug out bag.
Yeah, exactly. This is
the new fall lineup.
This is my back to school bug out bag.
Yeah, back to school bug out bag.
Yeah. But I think there's also in various regions these kind of disaster seasons that you can kind of plan for a little bit. Things like wildfire season, but there's hurricane season, there's tornado season. I think there's a tornado season. When there's going to be like in areas where it's winter, it's going to be winter, but like there's epic winter areas. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some of that sort of stuff. Even now in our area, we've had really big shifts in summer planning for things like we get these like heat domes and stuff where it'll be 70 degrees and then the next day it'll be 110 and it'll be that way for like 3 days and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. So I think there's certain things like that where it's important to be mindful of that and try and plan as best you can with as much forethought around, hey, this might happen. I might want to, make sure my bag is ready. I might want to change it out and put attach my masks and respirators to it just in case, because there's likely a chance if I'm going to need it in the next 3 months, it might be because of a wildfire. Sort of an idea.
Yeah, I think like Home Depot, they're kind of ahead. They're thinking ahead of like winter season. And when I remember, was that last year where they had the big, it got really cold and there was a lot of ice that happened and people were just, I don't know if that impacted you down in your area, but in Seattle, everyone was slipping all over the place, and all the Home Depots and Lowe's and sold out of their de-icer and their salt and stuff for there. So I think they sell it like 3 months or so in advance, and the same also with certain heat things too. That's when they start selling air conditioners and all the other heat related ones. So
yeah, fans, air conditioners, misters. I've seen a lot of them now. A lot of fans now with a misting capability, which is super cool.
I like that.
So yeah, and even like things like the Icy Breeze. Like I would love to try the Icy Breeze. It's like everywhere on TikTok and everywhere else.
I don't know what the Icy Breeze is.
It's like a cooler.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a swamp cooler. It's like a cooler. You put ice in it and then it blows cool air. But there's something about it that is a special patented system, something that makes it so that it doesn't blow out super moisturized cool air. It blows out super dry, super cold air. So they've done like temperature checks on it. It'll be like, here's a cooler with ice in it and a fan like you would build at Home Depot or whatever. And it'll drop the temperature maybe 10 degrees. And then here's like the Icy Breeze with the thing, and it drops the temperature like 30 or 40 degrees. I don't know what the difference is. But those are the sort of things that like, okay, it's also a cooler. So you're not just buying an air conditioner in case you need it, but it's got some additional utility and capability to it.
I know when we were having some heat waves last summer, most of the stores sold out of their air conditioners, and our air conditioner is pretty old. We actually got a couple new ones a couple weeks ago. But I know that a lot of people swear that for your basements, for example, I'm getting a dehumidifier and having it in the basement helps cool the basement in kind of like an air conditioning. And usually you could find one of those when all the air conditioners are sold out at the store.
Yeah, because I think the science behind air conditioning, I could be wrong, but I think it's about removing the humidity from the air, using the Freon and everything else to try to suck the humidity out, and that makes it feel colder in the house.
Yeah.
So if you found a dehumidifier, that would kind of do the same thing. Quick moment from the chat. Portable fans are underrated, wildly underrated. Yes. I mean, you should have them, even if you have air conditioning and all the other things, you should have some fans just in case.
My wife has so many portable fans, and it's always a pain during winter. I'm like, well, where are we going to store all these things at? So it seems like a good portion of the garage is just fans.
Well, when you don't need the pepper plant storage,
That's
you
true.
just take those out and replace it with fans.
Yeah.
I
wonder if she could do like a pepper mist and then have the fan spray it all over, and that could be like a natural defense for.
Well, it would be a defense for sure. Like, okay, now
we'll put our Mira safety masks on, and we'll let the marauders get the mask.
Although, now that you mention it, like that is a really interesting idea for if you did have some sort of a situation that you were like at home and you were bugging in and you were trying to have some sort of exterior defense capability or something. That would be
her peppers are so potent. Like when she's it's like a tear gas type thing. So it might be something to look into.
Because a lot of them you put them on top of like a bucket and you put like the hose. It's got like a little suction hose. You put that in the bucket and it sucks up the water. There's some others you can attach directly to a hose, but a lot of them you just attach it to a bucket. I wonder if you could put something in there that would then mist out and make it so that people wouldn't want to come around your house that much.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm very intrigued now. I have to do.
These ideas just come when we talk.
They really do. We have a way of doing it.
The chat room starts going, talking about things. It sparks new ideas, and then and they never get documented. They never get filmed.
It's a party.
You have to tune in here. You have to tune in here, folks, for these ideas. So.
Yeah. So, and also, we mentioned this the other day. What is happening? What is going on? Why did it? I don't know what. Is everyone seeing a weird stream thing? I put a link in the chat, and I don't know if it actually went or not. No, it's asking me to log in.
I don't see any kind of links in the chat.
Okay, well this is
Chuck and Pony Girl and Pigs Fly. They're having great conversations. So
that's always good. That's fantastic. Okay.
They're not even listening to us.
They're over it. Okay, so I tried to put the link in the chat. I've got the link for the Prep Talk Live Amazon recommendations store thing. So I was going to put that in the chat because that's where we tend to put all of the things that we talk about, and people were wondering where that is. And so
I guess I could put a link to that.
Popped a weird
my magnet belt thing really quick. I could do. Let me see if I can do that. I'll multitask as we're talking.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're gonna wrap it up. So that's I have like my new teleprompter thing so that I can actually look at the camera and see the chat and everything else. But when I went to try to put the link in, now it's asking me for a chat thing and I don't have a keyboard, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to look at the chat over here and I'm going to watch over here, and then I will add the link at some point to something down the road.
I can't add the link. I have to go to the YouTube video to do it. Okay. This is going to get fancy.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do it. Check the links. We'll put them in comments below the videos.
I'll put it in the chat room really quick. I'll find this.
Okay, you figured it out.
I could do it.
You're on top of it.
Okay, we're live. Okay, this is going to be like like Inception, where I'm watching a video of us doing a live stream.
Yeah, I need to be dancing or something. I'm not wearing nearly enough sequins for this to make sense. Let's see. I also got I also uploaded, for anybody who's a podcast person and catching the replay, I did upload about 10 or 11 new episodes for the podcast.
Awesome.
We crossed 1,000 downloads, which really? is almost as as many I don't know. I don't have a good analogy. I was going to try to talk about Casual Prepping Podcast, but they just have so many more than we do. It's not even funny.
They're kind of a big deal.
They are. That's almost, what it is? It's almost as many episodes as they have. That's what it is. It's, they have lots of episodes. But yeah. So anyway, so people are actually checking out the podcast. So feel free, cool. if you enjoy that sort of thing, check it out there. Give us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it.
So what are you doing this weekend? What's the plan?
So this weekend, I think we are going to go to the beach one day. I think we're going to go check. We haven't been there much. The kids really want to go. The wife really wants to go. So we're going to go to the beach. And then I think there is talk of visiting the zoo, perhaps. So we may go do that.
There's a good zoo down there. I like that. We like that.
Yeah, it's a lovely zoo. So I think we're going to try to do that. Try to maybe beat the crowds a little bit with the heat and the weekend and that sort of thing. But I think we're going to do that. We're going to do something fun for dinner tonight. I don't know. I left them in charge of deciding if we're going somewhere, if we're ordering something, like what's happening.
I just ordered an air fryer. We haven't had an air fryer. And I feel everyone else is like, why do you mean you don't have an air fryer? And so I got one. I'm going to try it out tonight because I like buffalo wings and stuff. So I wanted to see how it does on that. So
air fryers are game changers.
Yeah, that's everyone says, and everyone's like they're baffled that I don't have it. So I ordered it same day delivery. So
nice, good. I'm glad that you found the urgency and you made it happen.
Yeah.
It's great for all kinds of stuff. Like we make chicken in it, we make all kinds of stuff. But
for reheating and stuff, it's really good too. And
yes, especially like pizza and stuff, like to reheat it and make it crispy. But tater tots, it takes tater tots to a whole nother level. So you should definitely try the tater tot thing. I will be interested to hear. We will circle back next week. Okay. We'll hear about Tup's air fryer adventures.
Yeah, I'm going to be testing it out as soon as I get done here. I'm going to go downstairs because I got my notification that it's at the door, and I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to pick up some supplies. I'm going to try it out tonight, and we have some little family dinner that we're doing. So
Awesome. All right, then we'll catch up on my weekend, and we'll have more preppy stuff to talk about next week, and we'll go from there.
We're kind of preppy.
We're very preppy.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well,
preppy Hawaiian shirt today.
I won't tell you that I may or may not have tried to find a place that would make a prep inspired Hawaiian shirt for each of us.
Well, I saw that. I see like on TikTok or on Instagram, where they show you could get Hawaiian shirts with people's faces on it. Maybe I'll get a Cascadia Dispatch.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have one with just Tup's logo all over it. It'll be that sort of a thing. So thanks everybody for watching and listening and subscribing and liking and following and all of the things. We'll be back next week. Probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday, could be Friday. Don't know, but stay tuned. Watch the socials. We'll let you know. And until then, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.